95% of everything in the grocery store comes from corn. Since so much food comes from corn, the Earth's population continues to grow. Farmers need to produce as much corn as possible as the world population grows from 7 billion to 9 billion within the next 30 years. Hi, my name is Lane Campbell. I'm from Central Lee, and I just finished 6th grade. My project is what is the effect of nitrogen on corn, finding the balance phase 1. My hypotheses were that the corn in the plot with nitrogen applied to it will grow taller, produce more kernels, and have a greater grain weight compared to the non-treated plot. My materials were a cornfield with plot area, 72.6 grams of nitrogen, a nitrogen applicator, 58 kernels of DeKalb 6169 seed corn, a tractor, a metric tape measurer, a science notebook, and also a calculator. I also used a metric ruler, a gram scale, 58 baggies, a camera, a ladder, a shovel, a caliper, and 4 buckets. And this is a picture of the nitrogen applicator. For my procedure, I defined 2 plots and marked them off with flags. Each plot had 29 corn stalks. Each plot was 40,356 square centimeters, which is 1/1000th of an acre. And each plot measured 76 centimeters wide and 531 centimeters long. The plots were 914.4 centimeters away from each other, creating a buffer. There were 72.6 grams of nitrogen were applied to the plot with nitrogen. The mean height of corn was 50 centimeters the day of application, and I used 32% concentrate urea ammonium nitrate for my nitrogen. This is a picture of me defining my plots with a flag. This is the nitrogen being injected in the ground, because even though the atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, corn still cannot get it from the ground, so you have to inject it into the ground so the corn can get it. I measured the same 58 selected stalks from both plots for 6 weeks until the growth plateaued. I measured the corn from the base of the plant to the tip of the whorl. I averaged weekly measurements to determine if to figure the mean from both plots. And I examined mean and scores and compared both plots to see if a discrepancy existed in the corn height between the plots. This is a picture of me finding the height of the corn, and I'm measuring to the tip of the whorl, which is where the metric tape measurer stops measuring. I performed a root dig on 3 random corn plants from both plots, and I observed the roots for their appearance, and I measured the root height, the diameter of the roots, the mass, and also the stalk diameter. I examined the measurements to determine if a discrepancy existed between the corn plots. These are 4 pictures of me during my root dig. The first picture in the top left is me digging up the roots. The second picture in the top right is me defining the length of the roots, the stalk, with the caliper. The third picture in the bottom left is me finding the height of the roots, and I measured with metric with the ruler, metric ruler, from the first internode of the stalk, and the first internode is the first line on the stalk of the corn. And the fourth picture is me finding out the mass of the roots with a metric ruler. These are my corn, these are my roots from my root dig. And the first three roots are the nitrogen treated roots, and to the right and to the far left are the non-treated three roots, and they are smaller and are a lot more yellower and look dead compared to the nitrogen treated three roots. I surveyed local farmers about how much nitrogen they apply per acre to their corn, and I harvested the 58 ears of corn by hand from both plots. This is a graph of the amount of nitrogen applied by local farmers, pounds per acre, and they applied anywhere from 120 to 185 pounds per acre, and I applied 180 pounds per acre to my plot. These are all the 58 ears of corn from both plots, and the 29 ears of corn to the closest to the right are the nitrogen 29 ears of corn, and they have more kernels compared to the non-treated 29 ears of corn, which are on the far left. And I counted the kernels from both plots to see if a discrepancy existed, and I weighed the kernels from both plots also to determine if a discrepancy existed, and I read more about nitrogen and how it impacts corn in the environment. And when I was reading up on my literature, I found out that if too much nitrogen is applied to the corn, it can be harmful, and it can leach into the water and harm the aquatic life. This is a picture of me weighing my corn on a gram scale. This is a graph of the corn's mean height after nitrogen was applied, and the green is the treated plot and the yellow is the non-treated plot. And the nitrogen treated plot is a lot taller compared to the non-treated plot. This is a graph of the root evaluation from the root dig, the root's height. And again, the green is the treated plot and the yellow is the non-treated plot. And the root's height for the nitrogen three roots is taller compared to the non-treated three roots. This is the graph of the stalk diameter taken from the root dig, and the green is the treated plot and the yellow is the non-treated plot. And the stalk diameter from the nitrogen three roots is longer compared to the non-treated three roots. This is the harvested kernel weight evaluation, and the green is the treated plot and the yellow is the non-treated plot. And of all the 29 ears of corn combined from the treated plot, weighed a little over 4,000 grams, and all the 29 ears of corn from the non-treated plot weighed a little over 1,500 grams. For my conclusion, my three hypotheses were upheld. The corn's mean height from the non-treated plot was 215.5 centimeters tall when it plateaued, and the corn's mean height from the treated plot was 279.7 centimeters tall when it plateaued. And when nitrogen is applied to corn, it does grow taller. There were a total of 12,415 kernels from the nitrogen treated plot, and there is a total of 6,963 kernels from the non-treated plot. Corn from the non-treated plot weighed 1,700 grams, and corn from the treated plot weighed 4,169 grams. That discrepancy in kernel weight shows that applying nitrogen to corn allows the corn to produce more grain. This is a picture of my two plots, and to the right is the nitrogen treated plot, and to the left is the non-treated plot. And the nitrogen treated plot is a lot taller and a greener color compared to the non-treated plot. My application is that applying nitrogen to corn does have a big impact on farming, and applying nitrogen to corn results in taller corn stalks, stronger roots to support and feed the plant, more grain to be harvested, which creates more corn to feed a growing world population, because we're having to grow a world population from 7 billion to 9 billion in the next 30 years, so we do need to produce as much grain as possible to feed the growing world population. I'd like to thank the Iowa Academy Junior Academy of Science for awarding me a STAR Research Grant, Darren Sturdivant for providing me the corn plots, nitrogen applicator, and the seed corn, Jamie Sturdivant for taking my photographs, Rodney Sturdivant for the use of a tractor, and Mrs. Davis, Mr. Reynolds, and Mrs. Lyrather for support and advice throughout my project.